I think he should. The man has not been on TV since March. You are holding him back. How dare you sit up there on that podcast, shoulder to shoulder with another black man, and tell everyone that live that you have the top black wrestlers in AEW and you don't even know how to book them. Hey, Candid Crew, and welcome back to another episode of If I May Speak Candidly, where we sit in my domain and talk about all of the crazy things wrestling related, both in and out of the ring. Quick announcements before we get into the topics, and trust me, it's going to be crazy. But first, I would like to announce that the first episode of Transatlantic Takedown is out now. Last week, I shared that my co host, Derek Cook of Irish Wrestle Talk, and I have started a new podcast called Transatlantic Takedown, where we share our perspectives, our predictions, reviews of wrestling from two different worlds. And I think you guys will definitely like it. We are two very different people, but it works. And so, again, the episode is out. The link will be in the bio down below or description. I'm still learning. So please go check it out, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It would do us some good. My second announcement is that now I am a WWE Shop affiliate. So that means that I will have a special code in the description boxes of every video from this video forward where you can use to buy all of the really nice and shiny things that WWE Shop has to offer. So Christmas is right around the corner, okay? Go and take advantage of that Black Friday sale. I'm telling y'all. Also add my code in it just for a little razzle dazzle, a little spice, you know. And it will also help with the building of this channel. I've also will include my Buy Me a Coffee link. Um, please, y'all, anything that you can donate will help in building this here page, this account, and so on and so forth. So again, thank you for tuning in. And, without further ado, let's get to those topics, shall we? So, for the first topic, I have to talk about this because it was one of the biggest moments of this Friday night SmackDown, and it was the taking out of Jade Cargill, one half of the women's tag team champions. And, I'm not going to lie, they had my girl looking like a chalked out dead body. Okay, like she was looking like one of those little figurines from way back in the day. Like she was tore up. Okay, and now is we have a whole who shot JR, who shot Mr. Burns, who beat up Jade Cargill, threw her on top of that car, and left her there. Now, there are some suspects. There are some suspects that comes to mind. One of them is being her own tag team partner, the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair. Now, trust me, it will break my heart if Bianca took out Jade. Why? Because Bianca's a good girl. Bianca is a good person. Bianca is the EST. Okay, she's the strongest, she's the fastest, she's the toughest. Like she doesn't have to take anybody out, let alone her own tag team partner. It doesn't make sense, right? But think about it. Every other person who has been attacked mysteriously in a parking lot has always been attacked by who? The people closest to them. Most recently, it was Carmelo and Trick. Most notably, it was Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And one thing that we know about Triple H is, if it's not broken, he won't fix it, which means he will recycle a story if it best suits him. So, could it be Bianca? We don't know. Next suspect, Bailey. Would Bailey take out Jade so that she can be in WarGames? I don't know. I don't know. Right now, Bailey is a face. It wouldn't make sense for her to do this because of the fact that she is a face. She's a good person. But maybe she felt as though she was being left out. Maybe Bailey felt as though she was being overlooked. And what better way to be a last ditch attempt to fulfilling the fifth member, because now the fifth member is out, she's injured, is by taking her out and being replacing her. So, Bailey, I don't know if I would say Bailey is my first choice, but she is definitely up there on the list. Now, the third suspect, and I ain't even come up with this, I just saw it online. Third suspect is Naomi. Naomi, and you know who's pushing this narrative? The current, reigning, defending WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax. She is online telling her she knows she did it. She's guilty. She's going to prison. She is going to get thrown under the jail. I mean, Nia fully believes that Naomi is responsible for what happened to Jade. And I don't believe it. I am willing to die on the hill that Naomi did not do it. Now, if Naomi did it, because she feels like Bailey. She's being pushed out, left out. But it wouldn't make sense because Naomi is in WarGames. So it's not like she is missing out on an opportunity because she is in the damn match. So we don't know necessarily who did it. I'm assuming that we will eventually find out whether it's this week coming up or at Survivor Series. But, we just praying for my girl Jade, praying for her, hoping she gets a quick recovery, sending lots of healing, love. All right. Now, maybe, I don't know what that was, but I'm all right, y'all. I'm good. So, again, we are sending a lot of healing to Miss Cargill as she recovers from her multiple injuries. And I guess we will find out on this SmackDown, which will be the go home show before Survivor Series, who will replace her at WarGames. So Jade Cargill getting attacked was not the only thing that had happened on SmackDown this week. We also found out who was going to be the fifth member to the OG Bloodline team at WarGames. And it was none other than Mr. CM Punk. And not only did we learn that CM Punk was going to be the fifth member, but we also got a return of the wise man, the best friend, the advocate, Paul Heyman. And a lot of people were confused. as to why CM Punk is in the match. Well, first, let me explain something to you. There is a level of respect between both Paul and CM Punk. And a couple of months ago, when Punk came to SmackDown and he had his little beef with Solo and the new bloodline, Paul came out, tried to talk him out of it, and asked for his help because Paul was going around asking a lot of people to help him out of the situation that he was in. And either they was unable or unwilling to help him. And there was only one person that was willing to put his body and life on the line for Paul, and that was CM Punk. Now, I like to believe that there is a level of loyalty between them. So when CM Punk got that call, like, hey, I need you to run through real quick. I need you to handle these boys for me because my other boy, he's not going to ask you. So I got to ask you for him. I'm sure CM Punk was like, no doubt, like, I'm in. I'm in like Flint. So it did not surprise me all too much that CM Punk was there. Now, are the boys going to play nice amongst each other? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Roman is an alpha male. CM Punk is an alpha male. They both have some type of attachment to Paul. Is are they gonna play nice? I would hope so. But I do feel like something is going to happen at WarGames. And I'm not, it's so many ideas between people online. Me being one of them, thinks that Seth is going to show up and show out. Now, CM, CM Punk is a enemy of Seth Rollins. Like on the list of people he hates, CM Punk is up there. He cost him a title. But there is one person that Seth hates more than CM Punk and even Bronson Reed, and that is Roman. So now he has three of his enemies in a match together that he is not a part of. Because, like he said, he did not want to work side by side with Roman. He will work side by side with anybody else on the bloodline team outside of Roman. But then Seth got attacked. Seth got attacked by the new bloodline, and therefore he didn't even get a chance to change his mind before SmackDown rolled up and Paul Heyman took it upon himself to put CM Punk in a match, which this is why I feel like Seth will show up and show out because this is another opportunity that CM Punk is taking away from him. So, do I think Seth is going to show up for War Games? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't see how it could play out any other way. So, that's one theory. Another theory that people have is that Paul is going to ultimately turn on Roman. Now, people, listen. Roman was not there for Paul when he needed him. Paul was calling that phone off the hook, and Roman just let it ring. He wasn't worrying about Paul, Jay, Jimmy, Solo, nothing. He let Solo completely run the bloodline down to the ground. Roman ain't care. So it wasn't until Solo broke Paul's phone that I think Paul realized, like, oh, I'm in big doo doo. Like I'm in big trouble. And then we all know Solo. took Paul Heyman out, and we haven't seen him for months until this past Friday. So there might be some hidden animosity between Paul and Roman. And Roman is just unaware, you know. And I think it's because Roman always suspects or always assumes that Paul is going to have his back regardless, that Paul is always going to be his wise man. And one thing that Paul cares about more than anything is what benefits him, what benefits Paul Heyman. And you wasn't benefiting him, Roman, because you wasn't around. This man was sitting there getting bullied by your little cousin, okay? And you didn't even care, excuse me, all the time that you have been back dealing with Solo, okay? All them weeks, bad blood, getting beat up, thrown through tables, all that stuff. You haven't called Paul not once in all that time. You haven't called him not once because it should not have taken you up to 2 weeks ago to realize that Paul's phone was off. So that means even since you even been back, you didn't reach out to him. So if Paul was to turn on Roman, I get it. I get it. And what better way to leave your old wife than to go back to your first wife? So while we're on the subject of PLEs or pay-per-views, I want to briefly touch on Full Gear from last night. Now, I was dozing off. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna stunt you. I was dozing off. Now, most of the matches, no, that would be a lie. I didn't really. There was certain matches in the beginning that I was really into, like the Mercedes and Chris Statlander, the Hangman Adam Page and Jay White match. Um, but then you kind of lost me after that. Congratulations to Daniel Garcia, though. He's the new TNT champion, which is good. Real Glass lost his title. I'm happy about that. But the other matches, yeah, it was a dub. It was a doozy, okay? I was not paying attention. Now, the excitement buildup came during the Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland match. Bobby was whooping that boy's head. Honestly, Bobby was tearing Swerve's ass up. I I, I kind of knew Bobby was gonna win that match anyway. Like people was really coming for me talking about Swerve is not gonna lose his second pay-per-view match in a row. Oh yes, he is. Bobby just came to AEW. You really think he gonna lose his first pay-per-view match? Like, are you bugging? So yes, Bobby won, and then on top of that, they attacked Prince Nana, which is like, why attack Prince Nana? Prince Nana, he just wants to sell his coffee. He want to do his dance. He just want to cheer on his boss. It doesn't make sense to attack Prince Nana. I don't understand it. I don't. So I went from watching Prince Nana get beat up to my man, Orange Cassidy and his match against John Moxley. Now, there was a part of me that really thought Orange was going to take that title. There was an even bigger part of me that was hoping that Bryan Danielson would come back. Just for that match, something, Trent, someone, someone come help him. He did, however, have help from the conglomeration who came to take care of Claudio and Pac And then, of course, Miss Willow Nightingale came back and took out Marina Shafir, who, old girl be getting involved in these matches. She be doing the most. So I'm glad. I'm really glad that Orange had somebody to come and defend him when it comes down to Miss Marina, you know. Um, but it was a tough match for my boy, but he stood 10 toes down, okay? He stood 10 toes down. He stood his ground and he did his best to try to take out John Moxley. But John Moxley is a big guy. So ultimately Orange did lose, but he didn't lose because John beat him to the ground. He lost because Willer Yuta came and cheated. So you know what that tells me? That tells me that John could not beat Orange Cassidy on his own. And that should be something that should weigh on John's head. I am at least a buck 25 heavier than this man. And I beat him to the floor. I had him leaking everywhere, and I still couldn't keep him down. And hopefully, they will figure out a way to continue that story. But it kind of seemed like they already decided to move on because uh, Unhinged, okay? Adam Page came out, and then Christian came out, and it looked like Christian was going to cash in, but he didn't. And then Jay White came out and kind of beat them, and then he was in the ring smiling while Marina is carrying John off to the back for a quick escape. And then when they get to the parking lot, you got Darby running into their truck, and he clearly on his crash test dummy vibes because he clearly couldn't have been wearing a seatbelt, seeing as how he didn't busted his own head driving into their truck. But here's the funny thing. There was a white SUV that was parked off aside from the truck that they usually drive. And all four of them got in, well, five got into the SUV, but there is somebody that was driving the SUV. It wasn't either of them. So, who could that fifth person be, or sixth person? Who is that sixth person? Who is that was driving that SUV? I guess we'll find out in due time. Um, but you know, we'll see. So I thought if I had to give Full Gear a score, I would definitely give it a 7 out of 10. Um, it wasn't as entertaining as Double or Nothing was. Double or Nothing was, oh, that was like AEW's best pay-per-view this year. Um, and listen, despite me being critical about AEW, I enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching AEW. And I feel as though if I choose to give my money to AEW, I should have a right to at least speak on the things that I like and I don't like about what they say or do or whatever. Not to say that my opinion has any real say in it, but at the same time, it's like everybody else can say what they want to say. I'm no different. I'm going to do the same. So, yeah. Um, and take that damn belt off of Mercedes. So, of course, I had to save the most passionate topic for last because it's not really about AEW per se, but it does relate to AEW and the things that their founder, owner, booker, all the other millions of titles that Tony Khan holds and his brand. Now, Mr. Khan, Tony, Tony, and I am not talking about the band. You have done it once again. You have managed to put your foot in your mouth once again simply because you want to one up the competition. For those who don't know, Mr. Khan appeared on a podcast, if I recall, is Chicago Sports in Chicago, where he was talking about AEW, the wrestlers, plans for the future, among other things. And there was a quote that Tony had said that has kind of caught a lot of people off guard and irritated a lot of people as well. And seeing as how I can never get this quote right, we gonna let Tony say it himself. So y'all watch this clip and I'll get back to my commentary.
Gone away. Cynical as ever now. God.
Yeah, well.
I want to commend you, Tony, for what you do with black wrestlers on your show, because you guys definitely push them forward. And even more so now, I see it. You definitely putting Swerve over for sure with the title, but bring in the Hurt Syndicate, as you mentioned, Ricochet, Leo Rush there as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Is that a conscious decision on you guys' part? And because I know you're not just pushing them because of their color, they have to have the talent too to do it. But tell me about that decision to be conscious about what.
Well, I think you just said it, Big Dave. I'm conscious of it, but I also think that these are all some of the best wrestlers in AEW you just named. So we're really lucky to have those great stars, and we've been fortunate to be able to build up some stars. And also have a lot of great free agents come in, to where I think so many of the top wrestlers, some of the top black wrestlers in the world are in AEW. And I really think most of the top black wrestlers in the world are now in AEW. But I think that is a conscious thing. But I also think it's great. And it's awesome to hear that. I'm glad that that's something that's connected with you, and it means a lot. Thank you for saying that.
Most of the top black wrestlers in the world is in AEW. That is what the founder, the owner, a man of color said. There are so many things wrong about that statement. And I first want to start off by you saying that you are negating all of the history making black wrestlers that is not in AEW. And I'm not just talking about WWE. I'm not just talking about TNA. I am talking about all of the independent wrestlers whose names are not on large man teams. I'm talking about the black wrestlers whose names are not on the tongues of these big wrestling promoters. I am talking about the black wrestlers who are getting overlooked, passed up, underrated, ignored, and just simply not acknowledged. I'm talking about those. I'm talking about the black wrestlers who may not ever be in a WWE ring or in an AEW ring. I'm talking about those. And by you saying that, you are not acknowledging those wrestlers. Now, Mr. Khan, I say this with all due respect. One of your top black wrestlers just appeared at GCW the other night. And once again, he had to express his frustration about not being on TV, not being able to wrestle. And the one thing that I really appreciated what Ricky Starks had said was that he was going to say, do, wear, whatever he wants to. And at this point, I don't blame him. I think he should. The man has not been on TV since March. You are holding him back. How dare you sit up there on that podcast, shoulder to shoulder with another black man, and tell everyone that live that you have the top black wrestlers in AEW and you don't even know how to book them. The only reason why you feel so strongly about the things that you say is because you have signed Bobby, you have signed Sheldon, you have signed MVP, you have signed Ricochet, and we can even throw Mercedes in the mix. But let's be clear. All of those names was established before you got them. Okay? We all knew them before they came to AEW. You cannot take credit for those people. Okay? Now, Mr. Khan, you had a black wrestler. You had a fine black wrestler, since we're on the topic of your black wrestlers. And you never took the opportunity to learn what she liked, what she didn't like, her skill sets, her strengths, her weaknesses, help build on the strengths while work on her weaknesses. You didn't. And you had the opportunity to make a star of her. Now, I'm not going to take away the accomplishments that she had while she was in AEW. But what I will say is what WWE has done with Miss Cargill is what you should have done with Miss Cargill, and you didn't. You didn't. And then on top of that, you have a number of other black wrestlers in your promotion that we barely see on TV. Most of them hide behind a paywall. A promotion that is on TV, that is on the internet. And if you don't know how to watch it, you would never see them. So it just seems so ill informed of you to feel as proud as you do because you have now signed on to these men who, in my opinion, will still be a part of WWE had they have received the things that they have wanted to receive. Sir, let's just keep it a buck here. The only reason why they are there, the only reason why they are AEW superstars is because they did not receive what it is that they wanted home. So, with that in mind, I thought it was even more ironic that during the scrum after Full Gear, Miss Kate from Fightful asked Bobby a very interesting question about black champions. We're going to play that clip and get back to my commentary.
Hi, Kate from Fightful. You guys seem very motivated to find gold here, and I just wanted to ask what it was like to come into a company and see so many black champions and what it meant to challenge right off the bat, essentially, a former black world champion.
See, I don't like that. I don't like that black champion. It's just a champion. See, we've normalized this already, and that's what I want to do with it. Winning a title as a black champion, and there's other black champions here. We can kind of erase that word now. We could just say champion, It could be it could be a black champion. It could be Asian champion. It can be Latin champion. It can be any champion. So we've already normalized that, so we can kind of erase that black champion, and it's just champion now.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah, that happened. So a lot of people feel like Kate took a shot at Triple H and WWE, and I'm not too far from thinking that as well. Now, listen, me and Kate do follow each other on Instagram, and I really have no qualms with her. We're all in the same field. We cover almost the same content. The only difference is she's a white woman and I am a black woman. Um, but outside of that, um, I understood what Bobby was saying. He doesn't want to be acknowledged as a black champion. He doesn't want to hear the term black champion. And is he wrong for feeling like that? Let's be honest. Bobby don't want to be your black savior of AEW. He doesn't want to be black Jesus. Okay, to come and save AEW from the pit. That is not what Bobby wants to do. Bobby wants to wrestle, he wants to win gold, he wants to make money, and he wants to live a happy life. Is he wrong for feeling that way? No. And it kind of baffles me that people don't quite understand what it is that he is saying. Now, that's not saying that you cannot be proud of being the first black this, the first black that. It is actually kind of sad that we still have to have these first black titles. Honestly, let's call it for what it is. We're in 2024 and AEW is having their own first black AEW world champion. But we give them a pass because AEW is still fairly new. It's only 5 years old. I give AEW a pass for that. But I just thought the fact that Tony said what he said and then Bobby comes out just a matter of days later and contradicts what Tony said. I hope that's a lesson for Tony. I hope he learns a valuable lesson. These men are not here for you to point and laugh at WWE or Triple H and to say, I won, you lost. Because if that is the type of game that you are willing to play, I am telling you right now, the way MVP is set up, the way Bobby is set up, you are going to get your feelings hurt messing with those men when it comes down to that. Do not use them as a pawn to get your one-uppers on WWE. It will backfire and it will blow up in your face. Okay? We are not pawns in your game. Okay? We want to be acknowledged as people. We want to be given the same due respect as the next person. We want to be acknowledged for our achievements and overall just respected. Like, I think that's all everyone ever wants is just to feel respected. So, just as I said on the Sunday Night Spotlight episode, which is live now on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel, another little shout out there. Do better, Tony. Do better. As a man of color, do better. You are in a position that a lot of people would never have the ability to be. You are in a position where you have created a company that is under a decade old. And you have somehow managed to push WWE to be better. And that's something that you should be proud about. That is something that you should be so proud of. But then you go and you fuck shit up by saying things like this. And you know what it remind me of? Calvin Candy. If y'all don't know who that is, please go look it up. That is what it's giving. It's giving Calvin Candy and Candyland. Okay? That is what it's reminding me of. But before I continue on this tangent, because I have already spoken of it enough this week, I am going to end it right there. But I would like to thank all of those who have tuned in and watched this episode. Yeah, it was a little messy. I had I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, but sometimes I just like to wing it. I just feel like that is more authentic when I am just less structured and you just get the real me and my thoughts uh, in live action. So, again, thank you for those who have watched. Please like, share, and smash that subscribe button down below. I am almost at 50. I would love to see 100 before the year is out. So if you could just tell your friends to tell their friends to tell their friends, hey, if you like wrestling content, if you like to hear a woman talk about wrestling as womanly as possible while also sharing her very candid opinions about things, please, 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 please listen to If I May Speak Candidly podcast, where that is exactly what you're going to get. So, again, thank you, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and see you soon. Bye.